The changing landscape of the housing market in Las Vegas requires a real estate professional that understands how to get your offer accepted, willing to go above and beyond for service and accountability. Hi, my name is Dan French. I've been in the real estate and financing industry for over 13 years. Most real estate agents struggle with answering their phone. Please call me directly, 702-557-6176. I'm available for all your real estate needs.
Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
And welcome everybody out there. This is the French Workbench Podcast, baby. FWB. What's going on, everybody out there? It's like a Rocky theme, right? It's like everybody, I feel like I'm getting ready to go into a fight. I'm like, let's get it. You know what I mean? My name's Dan French. I'm your host. And we're streaming live from the studios of Dan French. You guys know this is the most real behind the scenes information on financing, real estate, money talk happening here in Las Vegas. And like I said, I'm your host, Dan French. Today we got a great show. We have a guest, and we're going to talk with her in a second. I'm going to go around the room. We're going to talk with everybody. Also, if you guys like the content, please like the channel, subscribe. If you guys have comments, we're going to answer those questions throughout this podcast. So we're going to talk today about what's happening with Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae's come out and said the slowing in housing is going to continue to 2023. We're going to talk to my guest Larissa about what she does with her profession. Also, we're going to talk about what's going on with the Dow and how that's going to affect the economy. She's going to give us her take on that. And also, we're going to talk with Doug here. Doug's in studio. He's going to talk about the Fed and what's going on with rates, and I'm going to delve into that. But first, I want to introduce my co-host, the one and beautiful Esmeralda Lucia. How are you?
Good. How are you?
How is life, Esmeralda?
Life is good.
Life
So
is
good.
grand, huh?
Yeah.
What's going on? Anything new?
What would be new?
I don't know. Have you been on a date or not? What's going on in your world? Like, give us the juicy scoop. Like, what's happening?
You know what? I learned a long time ago, never discuss personal stuff.
Don't kiss and tell.
Yeah. So
Esmeralda's a player.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I keep that.
wow.
So I
I'm
keep
just
that
kidding.
So I keep that on the low now. Yeah.
Keep that on the DL, the
Yeah.
down low. So
on that down low.
that's right. So as you guys know, Esmeralda's with WFG Titles. She's here in studio, giving her take and giving her opinions and her stories on her very interesting life. Because I know on weekends we can't get a hold of her, but yet I see some crazy pictures on social media. Can you explain that, Esmeralda?
Hey, sometimes I go out and I just have fun.
Hey, you live in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So also we have...
She's a beautiful strutting her stuff.
Absolutely. And we also have Mr. Duggernaut, Doug Liebig. He's back. Las Vegas Home Inspections. What's up,
you
Doug?
doing? Good.
How are you?
Where's your hat today, Dan?
Dude, I just thought, you know what, man? I'm going to
Changing
shoot
it
for
up?
the fences, and I'm not going to wear a hat today. That's what I thought.
Man. All right.
That's what
all
I
right.
thought.
So you wore yours, like, so.
I always wear mine. We go out and I
love
ask
hats.
my wife, hey, can I wear my hat? She goes, no. All right.
She says no.
He
She
knows
says
the
no.
deal.
Yeah.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Well, so you guys know also, we're going to talk with Larissa, and it's Jehovisser. Did I say that right? Jehovisser.
Jehovisser.
Is that right?
Yes, that is.
All right. And what is your website, Larissa?
Larissa@law.com. So my first name at law.
At lawdog.com.
Mm-hmm.
You're just the law dog.
Larissa@law.com.
That's right. So LarissaLaw.com, right?
Larissa@atlaw.com.
Okay, I just wanted to test you out.
It's cool.
All right. So you guys know we're going to talk a lot about what's happening in Las Vegas. This is an Everything Las Vegas channel. So let's get right into it. So first off, I want to bring up, did you guys ever go down to Prim where you guys have the lottery happen and you guys stand in that line? I know there's been some big payouts, right, with the lottery, the California
Oh my
lottery.
God, I do sometimes.
Dude, I'm down there, and I was down there for like 2 hours. Not recently, but I was down there. I was
You were
like,
there
dude,
recently.
okay, I was there last week, but I'm there every day. I'm like, open. But I mean, so people went down there, and you never hear anybody winning at Prim, right?
you don't.
Hitting it big.
Hitting it big, and so somebody hit $282,000. They hit the old fantasy 5 tickets sold Prim on. This was recently. So, have you ever been down there though, Esmeralda? Do you go down there a lot? Have you done it? Right.
I mean, I've gone. I'm not gonna say I go there often, but I have.
To buy the tickets, the lottery tickets.
Yeah, I have. Went like with friends and stuff.
Yeah, just
like,
fun.
Yeah, I have, and it's so funny. Like, we never won though, or anybody in my group or circle, or
Right. Yeah.
I've
your
never had
chances
anybody
of
win.
winning are like super low, but everybody's just like, why not? Because people win.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
People win. So let's talk a little bit about anything else going on in Las Vegas. I know there's a lot of winners out here. I mean, they're putting it out in the news. I also want to bring up, too, if you guys are football fans out there, I know I was reading today that the Pro Bowl is going to be canceled, and they're going to replace it with, I guess, flag football.
Oh God, that's
Have you guys
terrible.
Yeah, I think
did
it's
not hear.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know if it's true, but I mean, that's a big deal right now. And I think because
sure
the ratings are suffering here. So it's in Las Vegas, and that's why it's news in Las Vegas.
That's so sad. I love football. Okay.
You do love football. What did you hear about this, Doug?
I did not hear about it.
You did not hear about it.
I didn't. No. Last I heard, we were hosting the Pro Bowl.
You were hosting the Pro Bowl?
We were. Yeah, the Las Vegas was right.
Las Vegas, yeah.
Yeah. So I hadn't heard anything about the flag football.
Nothing about that, huh?
Nah.
So you guys, let's talk a little bit about what's happening here. And Larissa, are you okay? Is the camera or is the microphone working for you?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear her?
Or maybe I need to move it like that. It's kind of
It sounds like it's disconnected. Look, that's what it is. It's not connected at the top right there. You pulled it apart. Right there. You got to push that. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
That's what it was.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I think it was pulled out. So,
Yeah.
anyways, let's get back to it. So, we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening. Any other news around Las Vegas right now?
I know that there's a lot of concerts that are taking place.
Okay, I got some news. This is juicy though.
Juicy
Like,
news.
ooh, let's hear it.
So you did hear about the elected official that was arrested for murder?
Yes.
Okay, so I
Yes.
just, was reading online. He had his first appearance. So that's newsworthy. And as a lawyer, I'm just wondering if he's may try to claim an insanity defense or some kind of mental defect, because it was really out of character. And it made national news. Like a lawyer kill somebody because he didn't like the stories that were being reported about him.
Oh, you're talking about that happened here through the Las
Yes.
Vegas
Yeah.
Review-Journal.
Yeah.
Correct.
Is that the one? Okay. Did you
Yes.
know this person or?
I didn't know him personally, but my office has had cases against his office because he's the Clark County Public Administrator. So he oversees estates where there's no family that can be found or anybody to handle it. So I had a couple cases that I had to deal with that office. So,
Wow.
it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
I didn't
And-
know that.
But I feel like for somebody to get killed, it had to be deeper than
Well,
cases.
He blamed it on.
I know he was having an affair, right?
Correct, but he blamed losing his reelection on the reporter. So for him, it was monumental because he's lost his career. He believes these things are all blaming this individual that he murdered.
Well, they said that he had more stories that are not even out yet.
Correct. Well,
right?
Okay. There are apparently allegedly stories. And honestly, like I said, it's just unfortunate because 2 lives or multiple lives are now damaged because somebody was killed. And, I tend to be sympathetic even for the accused. So for whatever, but that's big Vegas news. So that's why I brought it up.
No, it is big Vegas news. And I'm going to tell you right now that only in Vegas, you'll hear these stories like that where somebody goes to that extent, right? I mean, I'm not going to say all, but we have really some juicy stories here.
Well, we have a
sometimes,
lot
right?
of
I mean, it's
stories that
crazy.
make national news. There are
National
a lot of stories.
news.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, we got, but for the most part, I mean, I got a buddy that's on. Well, I know a few people on Metro. A lot of the stories are squelched.
Yes,
don't-
they are.
They don't make the news.
No, they don't, because
Really?
they want to keep the crime
Yeah.
stats down
Yeah.
for tourism. But the crime stats are actually kept. They're just not reported publicly. But you can get crime stats for zip codes because our office has
Yeah.
had to do that with negligent security cases where we've had clients that have been very badly injured to the point of being disabled or killed. And so how we have to prove up those cases. like if there was negligence in staffing security to protect the patrons, is we have to pull crime stats.
Right.
So like there's cases that I'm familiar with, like crime in the city. There's a lot of crime, unfortunately, but it will tarnish the Vegas image if the public knew, like, you know.
So if you guys don't know, Larissa is an attorney, and we're going to get to know Larissa a little bit. So Larissa, what is your occupation as far as what type of attorney work do you do?
I'm laughing because, so now primarily I deal with a few areas of law, but I've done like all types of cases in my career. So my focus now is estate planning, probate, wrongful death, and personal injury cases with substantial bodily injury. That's the other side of the law firm. But what I do on the daily basis is the real estate transactions, the probate cases, estate planning, and then some like litigation regarding estates. So I've had like some celebrity clients whose estates have been involved in litigation, and I've been dealing with that, and I have one now in particular. But so I do a lot, actually.
You do a lot. So when you say substantial body harm, right? Is that that you're not limping in, right? And you'll be like, hey, you're probably not, you're going to the hospital, and you're not, like where does that line come in?
So substantial bodily injury, and so I don't have a definition off the top of my head, but as a lawyer, substantial means that you had to be treated and it was a serious medical condition. So maybe not just the ER and release, but it's been maybe you've had to get a surgery, you've been disabled, unable to work. So there's all types of injuries that can happen to people. And
is it just with work related, or is it just generally anywhere
That's such a good question, because I'm sure everybody thinks that. Like, so if you get injured at work, your exclusive remedy in Nevada is workers' comp.
Right.
But there can also be a corresponding personal injury case, like if, for example, there's like a defective product that hurt you. So like the manufacturer could be sued in an injury, liability, negligence case, and then there could be a workers' comp case. So basically, to have a claim for an injury case is like there has to be negligence or carelessness on behalf of a third party which owed you a duty, and as a result of breaching that, now you're injured and like you need to be compensated for like missed work, going to the hospital, your bills, if you had to get a surgery. Some people are permanently disabled after they've been injured. Like their life will never be the same. So that would be like a brain injury would be like substantial bodily injury, or spine, things like that. Yeah, it's sad, but the good news is that there are lawyers that help, because like accidents can happen. So like my whole thing now, just keep it positive. If people are hurt, the remedy unfortunately is money, fortunately or unfortunately. You can, depending on like the facts of the case, you can be compensated for like the harm that was done to you. So getting a good attorney is very important, because you have to prove up your case. So that's like a little tidbit on what I know.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges. I think today's world, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think everybody does anyways, so it doesn't really matter.
And even when you're not wrong, they correct you when you're right.
Right. So I want to ask this question. So there are a lot of people when they get into buying into a trust or a will, and we're not going to delve real deep on it, but I think we have to always look at it from the consumer's eyes. Right? Where are they at? Is it, beneficial for a lot of people, and why people should turn to you or to somebody to help them with a will or a trust? Because in today's world, people are really living, I hate to say this, paycheck to paycheck, right? They're living and struggling. I think there's a lot, and it's not like, oh, well, let's talk about all the challenges, but I don't know. It's hard because you have to justify, do I continue down this path of living and trying to make ends meet?
Right.
Or do I actually say, you know what, I'm going to have to sacrifice and try to get into something that's a trust or a will? Because I think if you pick and choose in today's world, people aren't going to choose that.
Well, that's a valid point. And so different people have different financial restrictions or resources. So obviously, you have to do something that's affordable, but getting a plan in place is an investment, kind of like any type of investment you'll make, because the flip side of not having a plan is going to be more costly for you and your family in the long run. Because if you don't proactively execute certain documents, your family's faced with court and lawyer fees and court costs and litigation. So it will cost you more in the long run if you don't put something together. So like if your means are modest and your estate is modest, you should have at minimum a will. Those aren't expensive. You can get them for a few $100s. Sometimes my office has free promotion for free wills or for different events. So wills, healthcare directives, and financial power of attorney, because those other documents will help you and your family members avoid court if you become incapacitated and don't die. So like my office, as I told you, like we do catastrophic injury and death cases. So those are like accidents. So like as a lawyer, I know people's mortality is compromised, but a normal person going to work every day isn't exposed to what I'm exposed to. So they're not thinking of all the different ways. I don't want to say that. They just don't know the mess that their family may have to clean up if something bad happens.
Right.
So getting documents is important, and it's may not be for somebody right now, but that should be on your radar as adulting.
It should, and I think that as the younger generations. So tell me about a story that you've went through that you can say where somebody was on the fence and there, maybe there was an argument amongst like, spouses and said, I'm not going to do it. Well, I'm going to do it. Well, I don't want to do it. Well, I'm going to do it. Is there any situation or story that you've had recently or in your past where people, because it's always like this, it's the same with like housing. They always say, well, I'm going to wait. It's not the best time. I'm trying to time it out and the rate's got to be the best and I got to get the lowest and buy at the dip. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, then they kick themselves and like, well, I should have bought a house.
Right, because I know something from your world. Like they say the prices may be lowering, but the value is still the same, right? That's what they say for buying a home in like compromised markets.
100%. Now, does that actually relate to your business as well? Where, people have to see the value and they have to say, well, is there a story where they're like, hey, I should have signed up with you a long time ago?
I got a lot.
A lot, right?
Well, yeah, because I also have to litigate and go into court when there is no plan. So I see all the money that the families have to spend on lawyers and the fights and all the drama.
I bet that gets deep.
It does.
Right?
And I'm kind of desensitized. So
really,
it's just, I'm sure you guys would be entertained though.
I want to hear some stories.
Hear stories.
So tell me, was there a fight?
One.
Was there a court fight? What?
It's a lot.
It's a lot, right?
Like what area do you want to go to?
What about family?
There's like a drop down. Okay, pick the subtopic.
My thing is this. So when you look at it, what are some of the challenges for families where they have real issues? Where's that breaking point or that trigger point, right?
Okay, so like what I'm going to say, number one, if you have minors, you need a plan, minor children. Really, if you have anything that you care about or want to protect, you get your plan. But minors, like you have minor kids, you're a parent. Like you have to be responsible, nominate guardians, make sure everything's set up so if something happens to you, they're going to be taken care of.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then two, blended families. So I have a blended family horror story.
I want to hear it.
Okay.
I love horror stories. Do you guys like horror movies? I love horror movies.
This is financial horror.
Is this a horror
story?
You'll
be crying for the
all right, let me
family
hear it.
members.
Let me hear this horror story.
Okay, so my firm was retained to represent an estate of a husband. And so the husband, we'll just call him Johnny, passed away in January. And then his wife, we'll call her Sally. Sally passed away in March. Okay. So because of how all the assets were titled in their names as a couple and like community property laws and different things like that, husband came into the marriage with the home and, his separate set of kids, and then wife had her separate set. So husband has a home prior to getting married to this woman, and then he executes a quitclaim deed to add her and not as joint tenants. So that created more problems in the probate case. But so then he dies. Before passing, he got $150,000 payout from one of his jobs for, I don't know what it was, but it was some kind of lump sum payout. He deposits that in a joint account. Okay. So what happens is, by operation of law, when he died, all his money that was going to him from his job, he put in the joint account. So when he died, the wife became the remaining owner. Well, she then died several months later, and I believe was hospitalized when he died. So she didn't even get to spend the money, but then she passed. So then
Darn the luck.
by operation of law, her kids like inherited all that money, and his kids got disinherited just by operation of law. And then the home, for a while, we thought the wife's family kids were going to get like all the equity in the home, but then the estate went over a certain threshold. So it's cost a lot, and that man is probably turning over in his grave. Like, he would want his kids to get the money. Instead, her kids got the money, and her kids are not good people. Like, a few are, okay, I take that back. They're in prison, and I've had some interactions with a few. So I felt like, wow, they got a windfall just because of the order in which these spouses died. That's crazy,
yeah,
right?
Crazy.
Crazy.
It is crazy. Wow. Yeah.
Because you think that man worked like his whole life probably to get that money. Like, he was an older guy. Like, that's not chump change to some people.
No,
like, it
man,
could be, but
that could be a
that's
life
life-changing.
Yeah.
Life-changing for some people.
Yeah, that's a
his
game changer.
kids should have split that money. Instead, her kids got it. And then now, like, we're just still dealing with this estate, and it's been open for 2 years.
So you see a lot of problems within families. What about businesses? Is there anything?
Yeah, businesses too, because
Yeah.
when like the owner dies, there has to be like an executor from court or administrator appointed to continue that business after death. And I've had those cases where like an individual passed away and he owned a lot of jewelry stores, and apparently he had a lot of jewelry on consignment. So when he died, that all became part of his estate, but he didn't have a trust or anything adding his wife to the business. So then she had to go to court to get the authority to deal with the business. And then there was like conversations, like some of the items went missing, and they were like very high-end fine jewelry, and payroll wasn't getting paid because nobody had the authority to do anything. And then furthermore, he didn't leave any instructions.
Wow.
He died of COVID suddenly.
Really?
So he was in his 50s. So he
in
was,
his 50s?
yeah, and he was in good shape. I mean, I wouldn't have.
Wait a second. He was in his 50s? That's Doug, are you in your 50s?
Well, it was COVID. It was COVID.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I understand, but COVID doesn't typically.
It knocked him out.
Yeah, it doesn't usually take out people in their 50s. I mean, that's.
Oh,
kinda,
I had some clients. Somebody,
Really?
the daughter and son inherited money, and their dad, I think, was like 38, and
Wow.
he died from COVID because he had pre-existing. So that I had to do a
So
guardianship.
maybe that's
on that.
what it is. It's like a pre-existing
Yeah.
condition, right?
Well, yeah, if you're like more compromised because
Yeah.
of like health history.
Yeah, and then Doug's like a triathlete, so I mean, Doug, right, Doug? I mean, you're out hitting the pavement all the time, aren't you?
All the time, man.
Yeah, I
all
can
the
tell.
time.
Doug's an ex-Marine, if you guys don't know. So if I'm
Oh,
going out to
really?
a
Wow,
bar,
that's why he's
I'm
fit.
talking the most. You know what? When Doug's around, because Doug's gonna take care of business for me.
Yeah, those Marines.
Feel safe around Doug.
We've been in that place once or twice.
Absolutely. So let's go back and let's talk about who is Larissa, and I think that's where people want to know. Like, why did you get into your occupation as being an attorney? What made you want to do this?
I was influenced by good role models, actually. That was the truth. So I always believed like education was always important to me. Like, even though, growing up in Las Vegas, you can get into trouble and go out, and I didn't do anything like that caused me to get a record, but I was going out underage. I had a fake ID.
Wow.
Going to
So
clubs.
you were out hanging out with people like Esmeralda that was getting arrested
Yeah.
as well, right? Esmeralda?
Yeah.
Oh, she's a bad
Esmeralda's
influence.
got a long history with the law before 18. After 18, she figured it out, but
She got her record sealed.
Threw a few ditching parties, got arrested.
But I mean, so you went out, you did your thing, you got a fake ID. Were you more mature looking as an adult? I mean, as a young kid too, being an adult?
No, I don't think so. I think
Really?
I tried to be. I just put on like clothes, like, tried to look older, but
Yeah.
I think back then they didn't care. Like in the 90s and early 2000s.
No, they didn't care.
Dude,
it was like,
yeah.
it was crazy back how they did that,
Yeah,
right?
it was a lot more lenient as far as security and IDs and stuff.
So you grew up here in Vegas.
I was born and raised.
Okay, so good. Okay, so where does the clubs that you went to? Like, do you remember like is there some certain clubs that don't exist anymore?
Oh yeah, the
Like-
Blue Note.
The Blue Note?
It was at Aladdin when Aladdin was here. I like
Rum
that.
Jungle?
That
Rum Jungle?
Seven, that nightclub 7. Did you guys go to that?
I remember
No.
Seven.
Palms.
Bikinis.
Yeah,
How about bikinis? Club bikinis?
I never went
I
there.
never heard
I only
of that.
went there because there was girls in bikinis. So I was like, dude, I'm sold. But I mean, so you went to those places and then
More the ones that were in the hotels and casinos because those seem to be like the glitzy, glamorous ones. Like
did you ever go to the Huntridge to see like shows and like
I
mini
did.
concerts?
I actually did a long time ago,
Did
but
you?
I don't think it was like anybody famous. I went for some local.
Yeah.
Maybe once or twice back in the day.
So what do you think about Las Vegas and how it's transitioned? I mean, you got a lot more people here. You got a lot of Californians. You got
Yeah.
the growth that you've seen. I mean, I remember coming in and seeing this, not even just on an airport, just driving. And I mean, we're out to Gene right now.
Yeah.
We're going pushing out towards Pahrump, North Vegas. I mean, there's not places where we are not trying to build. I mean, they're going to be breaking down mountains. They're going to be imploding mountains
yeah.
here pretty soon.
Well,
but
you
I
see
mean,
what they're doing over at McDonald Ranch, right?
no, what are they doing?
They're step grading all that hill out there.
Yeah, I've seen
To-
that.
to
I've
where-
been. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a lot of new homes out there, and yeah, and then up north of the 215 too.
So Vegas is crazy. So you've seen the transition. So what would you say you like most about Las Vegas right now, living here? Because I have a lot of things that I got challenges with, like traffic. There's just a lot of people, right? I don't think it's bad. The heat, the weather. I mean, those are just the kind of like the top points. I think everybody does. But I mean, is there anything other than that you kind of like, Vegas needs to kind of fix this, or I'm just not really a fan of it?
Yeah. So I think Vegas has a lot to do when it comes to like developing music or like content. So
Really?
yeah, like there's like LA, there's like New York, there's different areas in the country that are like hot spots for like creativity. And I don't feel like, I mean, downtown Las Vegas has a creative vibe,
Okay.
but I think that it could be enhanced.
I do
Because
too.
I think there's a lot of talent here and a lot of I think it goes hand in hand with the whole Vegas entertainment, arts, creativity.
What type of music do you listen to? Everybody always says everything. What's your favorite genre of music?
I listen to pop, R&B, hip hop, rap, and 90s and 80s music.
90s and 80s music. Okay.
Yeah.
What about Rick Ross? Do you listen?
I love him.
Oh, you do?
I was playing him
See,
when we were in the car.
How would I know that you like Rick Ross? I mean,
Really? Do I like have that look?
yes, you have RR. I saw the tattoo on your body.
Oh
so.
yeah, Ricky Rose.
So that's your type of genre of music.
Well, yeah, I like it, but only for like isolated. I can't listen to that like all day long because I'm also a mom
Okay.
of two very small kids.
You have 2 small kids. Are you
So-
married?
I have a partner.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, so your last name, where does your last name come from? Like, I mean, I'm not saying come from, but where is, like, is it from
It
like,
came from the air.
was it from like
it came-
Fiji or no?
Oh, the origin of my last name it's Polish.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. Okay, so my dad's side, I told you, is Eastern European.
Okay.
So like my dad's mom was born in Ukraine and then his father was born in Poland, and there was like a village in Poland that was named like where our last name came from, but it's no longer there.
I see.
So that's where my last name come from.
So you don't look anything Polish.
I don't.
I'm just gonna say. I mean,
I'm
there's definitely
biracial.
other things besides Polish, right? I mean,
Yeah, African American.
oh, I didn't know
That's
that
where I get
part.
my melanin from.
Oh, I see. I got you. Well, listen, that's perfect. One last thing before we move on, because we're going to talk about the Dow here in a second, and your input. You wanted to talk about this story, but I wanted to introduce Larissa. So, what do you dislike, or what do you like most about Vegas?
Oh, so I'm a total foodie, so I love the food scene here.
Really?
Yeah.
Where do you eat at? What's your favorite spot to eat in Vegas?
My local go-to spots.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have places on my roster.
Do you really? So you're like, do you like? Is it like Monday? Because we all know it's Taco Tuesday, right, Tim?
Woo!
Yeah, Taco Tuesday. So where's your favorite place?
Speaking of tacos, I could always get down with some Roberto's.
Yeah.
The rolled
Dude,
tacos.
That's the.
You
That's-
like Roberto's,
that's
huh?
the-
That's not. I only brought that up for Taco Tuesday. If I'm
You
gonna
mean
eat,
flautas?
yeah, no. If I'm gonna
Flautas?
eat Mexican,
That's a roll. That's what you call them. The
What
rolled
is a
tortillas.
flauta? Is it
That's like
do
a
you
roll-
float after you eat
taquitos,
or what? Like,
taquitos.
you're
Yeah,
fl-
taquitos.
They're
But they're
taquitos.
called
Yeah.
flautas.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what they do with the with that though is this is how they do it in Roberto's. They get you and it's like, okay, it all looks good, but then it's like you go there and it's like a bunch of like cheese and lettuce and all kinds of stuff on top. You're like,
I love that.
You're like, is there a taquito or is there like something in there
Yeah,
under the
they
bottom?
give you like salad on it.
It's just a bunch of cheese and like, dude, you're done after like, dude, I'm cheesed out after Roberto's. Like, it's just too much
it's
cheese.
definitely like the late night if you've been drinking. So there's a really good restaurant in Vegas in Village Square. I think it's called.
Where's that at? Is that Tivoli Village?
No, Village Square is Fort Apache and Sahara.
Are
Okay.
you talking about Nacho Daddy?
No, it's oh gosh, the name's on the tip of my tongue. But they have good margaritas, a full bar, and then they have like really good entrees.
Is it like, okay, so you go into
There's a Keller Williams in there.
Yeah, and it's
And
next
it's
to
to
it,
the
right?
left by Pro Cyclery.
Okay, I've been there. I know what you're talking about.
So
I don't
there's-
remember the name.
What
Oh.
did you think?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah. What? So
Viva
Las Vegas.
Viva Mercados.
Viva
Yes.
Mercados. Is that the spot?
That is, because they had another location that used to be.
Mercado was my neighbor.
Yes, that's the name of it.
All right. Well, you guys know what time it is. All right. So we're going to talk here about what's happening with the housing market. Also, we're going to talk about what's happening with the Dow. And we're going to talk with Larissa. Larissa wants to talk about this because apparently it's very important. Now, I'm going to give my opinion on it. Esmeralda is going to give her opinion on it. Doug or not, is going to give his opinion. So let's talk with Larissa. Larissa, what's going on with the Dow?
So, everybody should know that there was a huge drop in the Dow recently. And so the reason why I felt it was significant is because I believe that there are a lot of fears out there from people who maybe invested heavily in stock or just, generally when there's changes in the economy, people freak out.
Okay.
So I think for me personally, I look at it as an opportunity. And so, but I know some people probably need reassurance, like regarding it's a cycle, it will come back up, just different things. People have fears that need to be alleviated.
My thing is this, I don't believe in the stock market. I'll just be honest. Like, I feel like it's manipulated, and I feel that a lot of people want to go there and get a quick dollar, right? And it's like gambling. But like,
Not always though, Dan.
Well, you talk to me about it. Then why?
Because that's where all your retirement, your investment, that's where all the hedge funds, they put their money in there, the businesses put their money in there. They expect that to grow. And when you drop the way the stock market has dropped, you got bag holders, man. Those guys, there's nothing you can do about it. What are you going to do?
Let me say this. So what happens if you go in there and your retirement's wiped out? You know what I mean?
You're right, though.
You know what I mean?
Like, 401k is gone.
There's
It's not
too much
secure.
manipulation in
That's
the market.
what I'm saying. It's not like it was.
They're going to need to put some kind of controls in that stock market. Because what's happening is you've got market makers, you've got CEOs of these companies that think their ATM machines are sitting there in the stock market. It's dilute your stocks out. So, then what do you got left? You got basically nothing left in your stocks. So
let me say this, Larissa. What's important about what's happening? Because we're in a bear market right now in the stock market, and you're saying the Dow is in a bear market. Why is that significant?
Well, so depending on how you look at it, so like you can look at it as an opportunity if you are investing. Like now the asset prices are really, really low. So you could think of it as like getting your assets on sale with the expectation that it's going to go back up and appreciate. And so it's an opportunity to make money. Well, now for some people on the flip side, if they were invested and they've lost on their assets, it eventually, from the advice I got from my advisor, is that long term it corrects itself and there is a gain. So the stock market is typically for most people like a long term game. There are people who are investors and like, they buy like they just flip on stocks. I'm drawing blank on the name of
swing trade.
Yeah.
Day trader, swing trade. Yeah, day trade. Yeah. Like everybody's going to have a different perception and perspective because I agree with you. It is volatile and there's a lot of risk and it can be manipulated. at the same time, there's like an opportunity too if you go in and you know how to do it, because like a lot of people have made a lot of money on the stock market. It's not as secure as real estate, but there's ways to make money. So depending on what you do or how you do it, you may choose that over
or what you invest in,
whatever.
And,
yeah.
right.
So it's significant not only for investing, but it's significant for consumers, because with the like hikes in the interest rates, it's affecting consumers, like people who don't even have loans, like credit cards. It affects your credit card.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we have a client who's on a fixed income. And she came in and she got her plan, even though her estate plan with me, even though she's on a fixed income, because she knew it was an investment and she's older and she doesn't want to, leave anything up to chance when it comes to like her assets when she passes, or who's going to take care of her, because she doesn't have a spouse or children and she doesn't trust all her siblings. So like different things will still affect like average people who aren't even invested in it. It still affects people. So, depending on your perspective, it could be an opportunity or it could be a setback.
So since January, the Dow's down 20%, right? And I don't know what that means really, because I'm not a stock trader and I don't really follow the stock market. I mean, does that
20% is like a cutoff at some point though. If it drops 20%, they look at the 20% margins, right?
Yes, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So is that like where it's like, okay, past 20%, now we're in a place where you got to start worrying.
Yeah, panicking.
Yeah.
So right now,
and they could actually halt trading if it drops 20% quickly. They'll shut the market. They'll quit the they'll stop the trading to just kind of stop the bleeding, from what I understand.
We need a financial person on here too. Yeah. Because we're all kind of like,
let me
I'm not
say
an
this.
expert in that at all.
I'm not either, but I do follow what I am in the market. And
I want to bring up some questions here real quick. So Running Altitude said that hats are unprofessional. Dude, I'm not going to wear any hats anymore. That's just it.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to get a toupee.
Get that one.
As long as it's done right.
Dude, if I get the toupee and I get like, like the whole mustache thing going and like, dude.
Try it out on Halloween.
Tell me right now, you guys are looking at me twice. Are you Dan French? Are you Dan French?
Get the wave going, Dan.
And right, let's go over here. I want to bring up some other, see if they have anything else. So Tim said, Taco Tuesday put a taco sign. Thank you, Tim. Why do lawyers use this phrase, proof beyond a reasonable doubt? What does that mean?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and that's, I had to take the bar, so we had to know criminal law. So beyond a reasonable doubt is the standard in which a jury can, find somebody guilty of a crime. So under our justice system, it's basically, so if you think of beyond a reasonable doubt is like 95% or higher that you're guilty. So beyond a reasonable doubt. So you have to give people the benefit of the doubt if they're accused. So like preponderance of evidence. So on a scale, beyond a reasonable doubt is like this person did it. There's no other like excuse for it.
Right.
So pretty much you did it. That's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And that's the standard for the criminal to find somebody criminally like liable and guilty of a crime.
So how about that attorney that did that really bad thing to the Las Vegas Review-Journal reporter? Is that without a reasonable doubt, you think?
So the person was accused of a crime, and everybody is innocent until proven guilty, but there was evidence that was recovered so far that in my opinion, in my conclusion, he would be convicted of the crime of murder and premeditated.
Premeditated, yeah.
Meaning he planned it. It wasn't a crime of passion, like he saw him in a bar and then beat him up and then hit him too hard and he died. That's like a lower charge than when you like plot to kill somebody and like lie in wait. That's the highest culpability of, murder. Right. That's murder one. So of homicide.
So what's the difference between, and I don't know, what's the difference between like murder and manslaughter?
So murder is homicide, so a human being killing another human being. And murder carries the connotation that it's intentional. So you
Okay.
plan to kill this person. So you took substantial steps towards it and like you planned it. So like, let me try to refresh my criminal law background, but like manslaughter is going to be lower. It's usually
Like an accident.
an accidental killing. I believe is manslaughter or like a crime of passion. I'm starting to get.
What about
hazy on
woman
it.
slaughter?
So then.
What about
the-
if somebody
the guy that-
cheats and then they kill because they're
That's usually
Can you get
involuntary manslaughter. So that's usually a crime of passion. So it's lower like consequence. It's a lower level felony. So murder one is like the worst, that you plan to kill somebody.
So if you did that, you would go to jail still.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. If I
for
could,
a less amount of time.
So yeah, there's different penalties attached. So like manslaughter would have less time than like murder one.
Okay.
So murder, killing somebody intentionally.
All right, so we're going to kind of delve into another topic here, but do you have anything else to say about why the Dow is so important right now for us to get this back up to where it needs to be, or at least see numbers change in direction?
Well, I think just generally it's a good warning for people. Like things are starting to happen with the economy, and like this is like a ringer, like start paying attention. So like if you are investing or you have your retirements and different, like financial assets, depending on where you work, you could get a lot of stock in your company. So it's basically, for me, what it would be to the general public is kind of like a warning, start paying attention. Like I wouldn't expect everything to stay status quo. Like I feel like there's going to be some volatility. So I would just tell people as a warning, like kind of.
As a warning, anything else to say about that, Doug?
And don't ever try to catch a falling knife on that stuff.
Right?
You know what I mean? It's pretty true. I did when I first started, and I blew it a lot. But just look at kind of look at all your indicators. Look at where the economy is going. Look at where the dollar index is, and what businesses are doing, and how the economy's flowing, and then.
And you could always change your percentages.
And you could always change it, yep.
Yeah, you
Yep.
could always change your percentages. And I think that, definitely contacting, like you said, a financial planner that probably knows more.
Yeah.
Probably the best way,
Maybe
right?
this is a good opportunity for people to like, kind of start paying attention to things.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so that's the sound. We're going to talk about real estate now. Finally, right? Everybody's like, well, when's the real estate part going to happen, right? We're not a real estate channel anymore. No, I'm just playing. No, we do real estate and financing still. Let's talk about what's happening in the markets here. So let's get into this. The first thing I want to bring up is you look at the problems that people see right now that are looking to buy a house. What is the things happening in the market? Well, 1 out of 5 people right now that are looking to buy a house, yes, here in Las Vegas, Nevada, are pulling out. What are the reasons why? Well, I think it's not rocket science, right? You look at interest rate hikes, we're over 7%, ladies, folks, men, anybody out there? Over 7%. Market right now. You look at where we're at with housing issues and repairs. People are backing out of these houses. They got more options. You look at it's harder to get approved for a loan. That's what people are going through right now. And then the fear of the market. And with the fear of the market, people are backing out. And you look at what the Fed is doing with inflation, the Fed's monetary policy. You look at the slowing housing market right now. And they've come out and said, well, right now is going to be a modest recession. Right? So we're going to be in a modest recession heading into 2023. So economists think that this housing slowdown will continue into 2023. You're looking at homes right now declining 17.2%. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, modest, I don't know what that means as far as what their interpretation is on a recession. But like I said, here's the issues that people have out there buying homes today in Las Vegas. You have market fear of buying in a bad market or putting themselves in a bad position, home affordability, you got harder to get approved for a loan, and housing issues on repairs. That's why people are backing out. 1 out of 5 that are putting in offers are backing out of this market right now. It's because they have options, people.
I've seen that.
Right?
No,
Yeah.
I've seen that in my practice as a lawyer. We have homes that are sold through an estate, and we had a couple just in the last 30 to 45 days. A lot of people are reneging or trying to renegotiate or sending in addendums for lower prices.
Yep.
So I'm starting to see that from my observation.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question real quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm getting some grumpy sellers because I've got some people that are canceling because of the inspection.
Well, let me say this though: is it grumpy sellers or is it being realistic in a market that's declining? Right.
Oh,
and
no,
I think there's got to be a conversation here where you look at these sellers
Right.
and say, look, we understand, we want to get you the top dollar. We're out there, we're hitting the trenches, we're doing this, right? But you have to be realistic and you
Right.
have to understand where the market's at. I have people getting offers accepted on a seller's side because they're getting properties that are the lowest or really looking at what's the lowest cost per square foot, and they're going just below that, right? Just below that so they can get that offer accepted. If you're not willing to play the game, you're going to be sitting there for a while. And there's nothing wrong with it. But I mean, for you, when you say modest recession going into 2023, we've seen an increase in homes here, 11,000 homes. What are your thoughts on a modest recession? What is that to you?
It's an alert, right? It's, hey, pay attention. I think kind of like what you said, right? It's pay attention to what's happening in the market. There's fluctuation that's taking place in the real estate space, and that could be, prices that are dropping because you have to offset the interest rates. So it's one or the other. We typically don't have lower prices and then lower interest rates.
Speaking of interest rates, I'm going to bring you over here. Look at this. These rates right now, 6.29%, people. So, and it's not getting any easier. 0.9% in fees. That means it's going to cost you a point in discount fee or cost to get that 6.2 rate. That's at a primary residence. Imagine if you're buying a secondary home or investment property. So you can see this incline. You see that the inflation's going up. We have the 10-year treasury right now at 3.94%. The highest it's been probably at least the 5+ years. I haven't seen it this high in the last 5 years, minimum.
But you know what else too though? So this is the thing with real estate. Yes, interest rates are going up. However, if the market fluctuates and properties do drop, it's going to be the same cycle that we had where investors were the only ones who were buying because they're able to buy it cash. So if you're a family that cannot afford to buy at home cash, you're going to lose again.
Yeah, but I agree with you a little bit on this, but I'm going to disagree in this sense. Okay, so you have investors, but it's a very small portion of the market buying homes. We are in a market right now where only first-time home buyers really can see the light. There's nobody else that's looking at it going, well, this is a good market. And I have to agree with them.
Well, I don't think I'm not saying that it's a good market. I'm just giving stats and facts of what.
Because like in 2008.
You're just saying they're going to miss out because they don't have the resources.
Right. You're not going to be able to compete with a hedge fund
or
that
cash
has
buyer,
billions of dollars.
Yeah, because I agree with you that it's going to be more difficult for like everyday people. Yeah. But one thing about our market is we had a large influx of California people because they can buy cash because their homes in California. Well, I don't know. They're worth more, but when they were coming in, a lot were buying cash. Like in the last 2 years, there was a lot of people buying from California, moving. Yes. And then a lot was being bought up by the hedge fund, BlackRock.
Well, listen, I can say this. When you have nobody buying homes, look, in 2005, 6, and 7, we had a huge influx of foreclosures, okay? You had a lot of investors come in and prop the market. People were buying properties, right?
Right, I remember that.
It was all great. But you have to think, too, that what is the percentage of investors that's really here, right? It can't be, well, they were 80% here propping up the market. Somewhere down the line, you have to have buyers, either mortgage buyers or people that are using a mortgage as a vehicle to get into a house. They have to have that opportunity. I feel right now the only people that really make sense, or people that are in the market that make sense, is first-time home buyers. Because, let's be honest, they don't know what's really a good market or bad market. They want to store their money. They want a fixed payment. And we talk about this all the time. I don't see how, when you look at what Fannie Mae is coming out and saying, and all this data is saying that, well, you look at the market, is it a good time to buy? Is it not? I would say as a first-time home buyer, anything else, I can't really say that this is a good time because you have rates right now over 7%, 7.5%.
Yeah,
you're looking
high.
at rates. That's huge.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because prices are higher, but if you need to buy, it doesn't matter what the market is. You need to buy. If you need to sell, you need to sell.
Well, but when you talk about...
But some people can't buy because they can't get the financing.
No, right. But that's what I'm saying. But if you're in obviously there's circumstances that you're tied to that doesn't allow you to make those specific steps and purchasing, then that's different. But not everybody's in that scenario.
So look, you said modest recession. What's a modest recession, right? What is that? What is the definition of is a recession, or is there a modest recession, or is there a different terminology? Because if the Fannie Mae is saying, the economists there are saying, we're going into a modest recession, it's still a recession, and it means that people are retracting and saving money. The Fed policy is going to push us into that, I feel. But is there a difference, right? Is there a difference in, hey, there's a modest recession, so they're trying to sugarcoat that and say, it's not going to be that bad. It's just going to be temporarily, and we're going to see this happen. I'm not saying we're going to a full recession, but I just feel that, I don't know, what do you think that terminology is? Why do you think that they put out modest recession?
I think that we've been in a modest recession ever since the pandemic. I think what happened was that there was an influx in housing and certain things because people were forced to be at home. But we also forgot that in that time, the people that were actually people that had to, their occupation was driving, moving items, gas, all of those people did not have the opportunity to work at that time because of the pandemic. So those people were isolated and they were not able to perform their job. We forget about those people. So guess what? Those people are working today and they're catching up. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the backtrack or the backsplash of that, what happened there, because these people were not able to work, but we were at home, so it didn't matter to us because we were like, hey, we're working from home, nobody's leaving. But that's why gas is up. That's why everything is backed up, and we're just seeing the after effects of everything, and now it's catching up to us. And now everybody's like, oh my God, what happened? Well, what happened was the 2 years of recession that nothing was happening. Now it's coming back.
Yeah, but do you think we were in a recession?
Stimulus money flooded the market. That's what happened. Yeah. When there was the economic impact recovery money, people were getting money hand over fist after because there was a shutdown and it crippled the economy, and then there was money infused. So that really affected the dollar, because there's too many dollars now for the amount of goods, so we're all competing for it.
Right. So you have to justify this.
So there's a lot of factors.
Yeah. You have to justify this though, Liz. If you're saying it's a modest recession or whatever it is it a risk to people out there? Because the biggest thing I see is fear, right?
Yeah,
that's the biggest
thing. This is my new, I guess I want to say what I say to everybody. Everybody's variables are different, so each person, what's good for me may not be good for you. This market may be good for me and bad for you, vice versa, just because of all our different variables, where we work, how much we make, what our assets are, whatever you have it. So they should now consult with professionals. So get a good realtor. Yeah. Get a good lending person. That's where professionals come in.
Yeah, but here's what I'm going to say is people, it's not about getting, people will seek you, people out like you. They'll seek out professionals. They'll seek out, I think it's trying to find out, how do I wrap my head around all of these things going on? And is this really the worst time to buy a house? Because you got inflation, you got all these problems. First time home buyers may just be hey, I'm naive to this. I'm going to still work. I'm going to do what I can because I'm excited. It's like buying your first new car.
Look, there's other variables though, because first time home buyers may be able to get a VA loan.
It's true.
They may be able to have all these other incentives, or somebody may inherit money or inherit a home and sell it. So everybody's variables are different. So I feel for a person, if you have a family, so depending on the size of your family, you may need a home because, you can rent or get an apartment or rent a home. So you got to look at how much cash you have on hand, what your financing would be, because maybe some people don't need to finance the full amount because they have maybe money from a home that they sold in another state, inheriting money. I see people inheriting a crap ton of money all day long. That's my job. Okay.
What do they do with it though? Do they really put it into a house? I mean, because
they do different. Yeah, one lady did.
Well, so I look at it like this, and this is what you really have to.
I don't want to say one, but I have a current client. She inherited a lot of money from a partner who passed, and she paid off her home, $200,000.
So in today's world, let's say you inherit $200,000. You have an ability to put it, let's just say, we're just going to throw some things out, the stock market, housing market, or a business. The only thing I see sustaining itself in this market, or that's somewhat bulletproof, is getting a business that has a necessity. right?
Yes,
That's the
if
only
you have an
thing.
entrepreneurial mindset, not everybody's in that state of mind though. Some people have, each parent has a job or whatever their like employment situation is, and like they have to have like a place to live, and maybe they don't want to rent because they've had bad experiences with landlords, or like they're afraid rent is going to go
But
up.
that's a different story. Let me say this. If you're getting into a house and you're barely getting into a house and you're putting your minimum down, sure, you need a place to stay and shelter. If I had hundreds of thousands of dollars, let's say I inherited $300,000, I'm going to say, okay, let's look at my pros and cons. I have some options, right? It's a life changer. Do I put it into buying houses? Yeah, I mean, houses are great.
Later, probably.
Look at this market, right? I don't know. Do I put it into the stock market? We're down 20%. Do I put it into, I don't know, some type of, I don't know, pyramid scheme, or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I see
You know
what you're
I'm
saying, like what to do with this money.
What
but
do you
there's-
do with it, right?
Yeah.
You got to do something with it that people need necessity, right? And
So
what
you're
I mean,
saying to make money,
Well-
so your plan of action that you're saying is like to invest it to make it grow.
I'm saying that people will always pay for something that they need. They
I
don't always
understand,
need a house.
But not everybody has your mindset. So you can do that. You're smart. You're business oriented. You think about making money, but not everybody does or can. So like for them, there's people who don't want debt. So they would buy the home cash because they don't want debt. And it sounds crazy because me and you are business people. We're like, oh yeah, we just put whatever down and invest it and flip it and make more. But I know people that wouldn't do that. So there are people out there like that.
I heard the dollar. It's interesting because the dollar is actually a debt note. It's a Federal Reserve note, right? So debt accumulates debt, and that's how you make the money on it, right?
Yeah, and listen, I'm not saying like being out there like you're an inspector,
Yeah.
right? You know, you do title. I mean, so look, if there's money to be made, but I can tell you that is any of our professions, and let's be honest with ourselves, is it a necessity at all? No, right? I mean, I'm not saying that you don't need to go get it at some point in your life.
It's
just not a daily thing where it's like, hey man, I
like
need to go get
toilet paper.
Yeah, right.
Like AC, like
Right.
your AC, you need to fix
So-
it, right? Like
Right.
heater, you need to
Right.
have it. For
I
work.
understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. Like I have the same mindset as you.
Dude,
yeah.
we're on it. So we're gonna go start a business after this.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, that's the only thing that's bulletproof. Like if somebody needs food, they need
Right.
shelters. Yes, you need it, but you know what? People would rather rent in a market like this.
Yes.
Everybody I talk to is, hey, you want to go look at a house? You want to go check out this house? No, I'm afraid of the market. I understand. Hey, rates are over 7.5%. DJ just said it. 7.5%, 7% rates, way over. You know what a payment would be on that for an average home in this market right now? You're probably pushing $3,000 a month. Is that really like something you want to sign up for at this point, right?
Right.
And wages here they're not accelerating enough to pay these payments.
Yeah, but like I said, everybody's variables are different. Because what about the people that work on the strip, or like people who? There are some people that do make a lot of money. Most people don't. But so I
Yeah, but
I
that's
wouldn't
not
say
life-changing money. That's
I
just
wouldn't
money
say-
that's like, hey, I'm making a decent living.
Oh no, I know. I'm just saying, like I said, everybody's variables are different. So for me, like if I found my dream house now, I would get it, even if the price was like not the best and like my interest rate, because for me, I would have like a different approach to. So
you
for-
want to hold it. You want
I would
keep
want to
it.
get my dream house, and then I know like I'd pay it off before it was all due anyway. So I could pay, X amount if the interest rate's high. Like I know for me personally, I could just pay it off quickly. But so for me, I would. If I saw my dream house and I was in love with it, to me, that's like worth
Yeah, but is that
even overspending.
Is that because of experience and just growth and age and like you've matured, right? It's a maturity position. If you're like in your 20s or 30s, I don't know. I mean, you still feel like, well, I mean, even in your early 30s, I don't know, like, do I have time? Like, if it was me, I wouldn't want my house by I'm 30 years old, right? I would, at least if in my early 30s. But is it something that's like, is it a dream because it's accomplishment, or is it something as a necessity? And I think those are different.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you.
What do you think?
I guess the way I look at it is kind of the same way that you do too. Is I got a place I live in, but what I'm looking at when I put my money into something, I want to see my money earn money or
Make money.
like a liquidity, like liquid asset.
Yeah.
And so as far as a home goes, I don't know that I would be in the same position as like paying my home off because I haven't paid my home off, but I'm using it for other things.
Do you feel like a home is an investment?
I feel like it's a
I
liability.
don't know.
I
me and you, high five.
Yeah, because there's not, unless it's making you money, it's not.
It's
an
not
asset.
an investment, right?
No.
It's not an asset. It's a liability.
Nope.
Right?
It doesn't make you money if you live in it,
No.
right?
Right, because you
It's
need
when
somewhere to live.
Yeah, it's either
So-
A, somebody's paying your mortgage, or B, you sold it.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly. The only time you can make money on
Right.
it is when you sell. So yeah, and then if you're making excess money, then you can put it into something else.
I just like I keep reiterating, like, I think if somebody is interested, they should just talk to a real estate professional. And if anybody on here has questions, they should call you and ask, like, so they should explain their particular variables. And I think that once people have like the education they need, then they make the best choices for themselves.
I say that's a good point.
Education's the name of the game.
Yeah, and I'm going to say
Because
this
there's-
too. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Because there's so many people that I do, like now that I'm doing the inspections, there's so many people that come up to me and say, is this house worth it? After I get done with the inspection, is this house worth
Exactly.
it? It's
Because
like,
they want,
it's such a subjective question, right?
right.
It's like, is it worth it to you?
You're like, but you're buying the house. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
it's,
So yeah, if it's worth it to you to get into the house,
I think for some people it could be like if you're recently divorced. So let's say people get divorced and like let's say they have to split all the equity that it made because they were married for let's say 15 years or 10 years or they got it when it was super low. So now like a spouse is walking away with a lot of money and then they need somewhere to live. Yeah. So then they're going to think, okay, well, am I going to keep paying rent and that is just purely gone, or like get some of the other benefits that may come from owning a home? Like for example, like can't you write off your interest or whatever?
Right off the interest. There's a lot of things
So
that you can.
yeah,
there's
like
benefits.
everybody. So I would not discourage anybody to buy now. I wouldn't say don't buy. I'd say if you are interested, you should speak to professionals and get the education, and then figure out like a timeline and when it would be good for you, because that's also something you have to prepare to do. Like when you get the thought, I want to buy the house, most people can't just buy it then, because you have to like get the loan, get all your documents. Like it's a process to even get your loan. So you have to like start getting prepared, I would say. Yeah. Everybody should prepare themselves.
I'm going to kind of rewind here just a little bit because we got to end the show. We're going to talk with Doug and I want to talk with you. We're going to transfer. But you imagine the mindset that people were in a year ago. Would they even ask that question to you?
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just crazy how media and things shift. You have rates. I get it. Rates are high. But you think like, you know, they would pay anything you want.
Yeah.
40,000, 50,000 over asking.
I remember that.
They were
that was
and
in like March.
Yes.
That's what these people were coming in and doing. I was talking to some of the buyers out there, and they were. I asked him. One of the guys anyway. I asked him. He put $70,000 over the list price to get into the house because that's what he wanted up in Summerlin, and then he went and got a loan. So he went and sold his place in California, put $70,000 over the list price, and then whatever it cost, for,
yeah, but his payment's probably low if he got the low. Like,
and it was about a year and a half ago, so he's probably in the 3 to 4%.
So he probably factored that, like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay X amount more, but what will my payment be?
Right.
And maybe he was cool with it because he's like, oh, I'm only gonna pay like another $100 a month for the house I really, really want.
And then he's got, I think he said he probably had like $700,000 or $800,000 he's sitting on, so he's gonna do so he's gonna do other I know, right?
Sounds nice.
So, yeah, I know, right?
So I'm gonna say this. So again, we talk a lot about what the Fed, economists, slowing down 2023. Again, we're gonna see a continuous big spoonful of this same market probably heading into 2023, just because of where people's mindset is at, what the economists are saying here at Fannie Mae. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Also, rates, could they keep going up? I want to bring up Verstar said something real quick. I want to bring this up. He said. I mentioned on previous podcasts, you make money 3 to 4 different ways in real estate, whether you live in it or rent it. And, everybody's got a different opinion, and I value that opinion. Is he saying you live in the house, you're still making money if it's accelerating at some point or if you own it, right? Also, too, obviously the last one is that this is what he said. One of it is if it's rented, but the former 3 are advantages as a homeowner, I guess so. Lincoln Darla said the best time to buy a house is when you can, just like you guys said. I mean, everybody's got a different opinion, and we're not going to go over, okay, is it a good time or not? It's just, look, man, we see it. We see the modest, or the thought of having a more of a moderate recession potentially next year. I just don't know what that definition really means. Does it mean
the one thing to think about when you're renting is when the value of that house goes up, you go to year. A lot of times those people the owners will like to sell on you, and then you're out looking for another house. So you're maybe doing that in several different ways when the house prices go up. So,
all right, let's keep moving. You're absolutely right, Doug. I want to ask you a question, Doug. You're on the thing. So you're talking about the Fed. Okay, you have anything to bring with the Fed?
Well, I noticed they had the last rate. I've been kind of watching different indicators, whatever, but I noticed the dollar index, the way the dollar index is moving up, the inflation rate is going, it keeps going up, and the Fed keeps raising the interest rates. Well, one of the things that, I kind of wanted to bring to the table is the fact that when I was a kid, we were going, the Fed raised the interest rates. I mean, I was in the Marine Corps at the time, but they raised the interest rates 25%. To deflate, to get the inflation rate down, right?
So my question to you is this: is that when you look at this, but would you pull the Band-Aid off? Meaning, why not just
to kill the economy?
Well, let me say this: why not take it to 8, or raise it to a point where they know that the economy, because we're heading there anyways. I mean, if they're going to do it 2 or 3 more times,
you got 2 inflation rates, right? You got one with that has the food and energy taken out of it, and that's quite high. I don't.
Yeah, that's the core. I think it's the core CPE.
Right.
Consumer price expenditure.
Right. So that one's up. That one's up above what, 9 or 10.
Yeah.
Y'all are bringing me back to college economics.
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
and then you got the one with without it, and we're sitting at 8%. And they're telling everybody 8%, but I think what they're doing is they're moving the goalposts on us. I think the inflation. We're in a recession. We have been in a recession, just like Esmeralda said, and I think they keep moving the goalposts on us, and they keep it because they're going to do probably 2 more. One a month at least. They're going to raise the inflation rate. The Fed's going to raise the inflation rate twice or 2 or 3 times more by the.
But are we in a recession? Because I feel like the unemployment numbers are very low, and I feel that's the last domino.
Yeah, that's the anomaly.
It's like eyeball test says yes, but yet everybody's still working.
Everybody's taking trips. A lot of places are saying they can't even get enough staff. Like apparently their workforce isn't there.
Right. That's what. And so
I'm confused too. I felt the same way. I'm like, are we like, what's going on here? People 100%. Are saying they're on unemployment and they don't have any money, but then they're getting money. But then there's like all these places saying they're hiring and nobody wants to work. So what's really going on here?
So the other thing is too on that is that they've discounted the people that stopped looking for work. Now Vegas is different. I know
But why would you, unless you were like disabled or like a lot older and at retirement anyway? Because like I feel like a younger person will still work even if they might not need to, like just to do something every day. Like what are you going to do, watch TV all day for like 40? Like you're going to continue to try to work.
Dude, like what's on the Daily Show today? Like
I don't even know.
Who does the Daily Show? Does anybody know
Trevor Noah.
Who is that?
Not like I watch it, but.
Well, obviously somebody knows. But I mean, is there somebody that's like a big daily like host, like one of those big hosts that they used to be? It's like Ellen and Oprah and.
Oh yeah, Ellen. What's her face? Kelly Clarkson has one, I think.
Oh, she does.
I think she does.
Okay.
I like her music.
Do you? Okay. All right. Cool. So what were you saying, Doug? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think we can probably expect two more rate increases. That's what they've said, and that
I've heard 3.
Okay, so at least 2, maybe 3. I've heard 3, but mostly I've heard 2, and it's like I don't know. They're not gonna take it up enough because at that point we're only gonna be at like 4.5%, right?
Well, what's enough though? Again, it comes down to this whole terminology and the verbiage they put out, like modest
based on what I remember from like the 80s, it went through the roof. I mean. It was.
I don't think that, to answer your question, I don't think there's definitely like a point in which there's like benchmarks, like at this point we're going to do
Where it
this.
tops out
So they
and goes
all
over the
like
other
kind of
side.
convene and see what's going on, and depending like whatever the factors are going on in the world and the economy, then they convene to like determine what needs to be done to make corrections.
So we got a couple other comments I want to bring up here, and you can keep going here on Doug, because we got to keep going. But one of the things I want to say is Lincoln said, I'm hiring, can't get enough help. She's agreeing with you,
Yeah.
Darla. We also have Thomas saying, let me see here, no one working because unemployment paying a lot higher.
I thought
than
they
these
cut
clowns.
that off. Because remember, they were getting like an extra X amount for a while.
They did cut that off.
They cut that off.
But the regular unemployment, I think, is much higher than it used to be.
Yeah, but so with that, you can't stay on it forever, though. Don't they kick you off?
I don't know. You have anything to say?
I think they kick you off at some
I'm
point.
not. I'm not sure about that, but I know that with the. I think the unemployment's gone up.
So your take is on this, Doug, is the Fed is going to raise the Fed's fund rate, and the reason I'm bringing this up is.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
What were you going to say?
Well, yeah, and they're gonna have to keep raising it. And where do they stop once they get over the top? I mean, what if they take it over 8, 9, 10%, where they're showing it right now? It's going to kill the economy. It's like, where do they stop? Because you look at the DXY, look at the dollar index. Dollar index is going through the roof. They raise the interest rates. I mean, it's up to 114 now. All the other currencies are falling. All the other currencies are dropping. So that means the dollar's staying stronger. Silver and gold are dropping. So at what point I think it's going to come off the edge, man.
So you think the dollar's going to collapse is what you're saying?
I think so. And based on, so I had a guy that.
Oh, that's terrible.
What's that?
I said, if that happens, that's not good.
I know, right? Well,
Let's not declare.
Yeah.
She's like, do not put that out in the universe.
Yeah, no. Well, when I had my engineering company, I had 18 people working for me. I had over $1 million worth of equipment.
Oh, wait, what kind of company?
Engineering.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
See, I knew you were interesting. I knew you were before you even started talking. I could tell
Dude.
by your hat.
Yeah.
He's a Marine. Like when
He's
you're
a
a
Marine,
Marine,
and
you
he's
just
got
don't
the-
F around. You know what I mean?
He's got
I
the
just do it.
tactical UNLV hat.
Yeah.
Doug,
So
do
he's
you
real.
do you got a Marine tattoo? I mean, does everybody in a Marine, do they get those
I
tattoos?
do.
Dude, I knew
But
it.
I also got the eagle. I got the eagle. I didn't get the bulldog. I got the eagle.
You got the eagle. So you
I
got a
got
choice.
the-
It's like you get the eagle, I'm getting the bulldog. Actually, I got a
I got
bulldog
the
on
eagle.
my I got a tattoo that has
You
a
have a
bulldog.
tattoo?
I
I'm the
do.
only one here that doesn't have a tattoo. Do you have a tattoo?
Well, you got to change that.
I don't.
You know what I mean? You got to get something.
Oh,
that,
then we both. Yeah, I've considered it, but there's nothing I thought that I wanted that long. Because
Well-
I changed my mind a lot. I really do.
do you? Like
Yeah.
if you had to narrow it down, not to get off topic,
That's
what would be your tattoo like that you would have to get if you were forced to get it today? What would you get?
Oh, so I would get probably something like, and this sounds real crazy because I'm saying I don't have any, but where I would get it would be super conspicuous, like on my hands or like here.
That's where my daughter got.
I
like
would
this
get
little
the
heart.
Mendy. I've gotten the like Indian
That's not
Mendy.
conspicuous. That's out in the open.
Yeah, conspicuous. You mean inconspicuous?
I mean, inconspicuous.
Yeah. No, mine is
So
su-
what if you did it?
I would do that, or I do something
So what about
here.
your
Get a
work though?
sleeve?
What about
Would you
your
get-
what about
I wouldn't get a sleeve.
what about
Not
your
for me.
work though? Is what I was trying to say. That's kind of where my mind's at. Where your work would you think? So let me say this.
So when
you-
I had my little henna art and clients were seeing me, they just were saying it was pretty. They liked it. I think Vegas clients are
They
super
overlook.
cool. Oh my God, the clients in Vegas are so cool. Yeah,
So if you didn't,
They
do it
wouldn't care.
So if you didn't do it on your arm,
they're open-minded.
if you didn't do it on your arm, what do you think is a sexy? No, I don't want to get into that. But that's getting a little too personal.
No, okay, so let's say on celebrities I've seen.
Yeah.
So we'll keep it like not going
that far. Yeah.
on celebrities. So like women who I like. Oh, I love the one Rihanna has with the wings. She has some type of Egyptian symbol like under her breasts.
What
it
about
goes
like
up to her sternum.
Do you think a tattoo on the back of a neck of a guy that comes all the way across like this, is that hot?
No.
That's a prison tat. Same with the bow tie.
Right?
So yeah, it would depend. Like the only people who could get away with that are like celebrities.
So you're saying that if a guy came through and he looked like he just got out of prison, that wouldn't be attractive to anybody here?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I just was trying to get to that point. So.
But there
think it
are
depends on
women
the
that like
person.
that. There's women that do like bad boys.
Yeah.
I got a story for you. the Las Vegas lawyer who got charged for bringing her boyfriend the cell phone in prison. That was like a few years ago.
Oh, wow.
There was a lawyer. Yeah, she got in a lot of trouble. She was facing serious criminal charges because she was dating a guy in I don't know if it was jail or prison at CCDC or High Desert. She was bringing him a cell phone and like contraband, and she got caught. Anyway, I believe she was acquitted, but that was just a Vegas story.
So what I like about Vegas is that there's a lot of realtors that have tats.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people.
Your other co-host?
Yeah, Chuck, he's got tats. There's a lot of people that have tats, and it's like, people overlook that if you're knowledgeable.
Right, I love that.
I think this is one of the only cities, not only cities, but I think here it's definitely acceptable.
We're progressive, because
I don't think that matters.
I don't think so either, because you can look at it like a doctor. Okay, pretend you go to a doctor, and he's a young guy, and he's like not looking professional, but when he opens his mouth, he's like Doogie Howser, and you're like, clearly you know what you're talking about, and you're smart. I take your advice. So now they're looking at like what you're saying and your knowledge instead of your appearance. So I feel like they're not as superficial.
You know what's interesting is when I went in the Marine Corps, we were not allowed to get tattoos. If we did get a tattoo and it showed below our sleeve, then it was what
like a violation,
non-judicial punishment, NJP,
really?
office hours. Yeah, you get taken down a rank and all that other stuff.
Really?
Now I see these drill instructors with sleeves. So the whole thing has changed.
It's changed.
Everything's changed.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I'm going to bring this up. So you got somebody that's going to do an operation on you, and you walk into the doctor's office, or you walk into the hospital, and you got a doctor with nothing on his neck, no tattoos, but you got one that's on his neck, but they both sound exactly the same. Do you still feel like, hey, I don't want that guy with the tattoo on my neck to work on me?
I wouldn't, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I know there are very smart, talented people that don't want to conform. That does not mean that. So me personally, I know that about.
So you think it's about conforming? You think about there's an edge to them, and they're out. Yeah.
I think they don't want to conform to being professional, or you can't do this because this is your job. Especially like younger people, I feel like I think it's a mindset. Like me personally, I would look at the message, and if you're smart, like, okay, yeah, if you have a neck tat, but you went to Yale, I'm not going to blink an eye.
Well, I think
I really wouldn't, just because that's me.
I think that people see it as art, though.
I see it, yeah.
So not everybody has a different purpose for it.
Well, since we've had this conversation, I think I'm going to get my next tattoo on my pelvic area because I think that's going to be a hot area to do it in.
It sounds like it's
Doug, do you want to go get tattoos at the pelvic area? You think your wife like that?
Yeah, get the butterfly tattoo. You want to get a butterfly tattoo?
A sun around your belly button with the navel piercing. That's like 90s.
All right, you guys. What else do you have to say over here, Doug? We got all off topic. I love tattoos. You guys love tattoos. I think everybody to a point.
Some are cool. Some I don't like, but some look good on people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't have any tattoos?
I don't. But I like tattoos.
It's interesting the different generations of thought, because it's like I know the way, like you said, that there are people that have tattoos, professionals that have that tattoos now are nonconformists.
I know several lawyers that had sleeves and legs, and then they told me, and I was like,
dude,
okay.
Yeah, I mean,
hey, Vera's got it. I'm getting a bench.
What is
French,
that?
just a bench, French workbench.
A French workbench.
I'm getting it on my arm, so people are gonna be like, "Hey, what do you do?" Man, I'm doing the French workbench, baby. All right, you got anything else to say?
He's serious about his show.
Hey, what else?
With a barbed wire tattoo.
Oh man, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Doug or not. So, hey, you got anything else to say about the Fed?
No.
Nothing.
Nah.
Anybody got anything else to say? You got anything to say today?
Anybody else?
We got
to wrap this thing up. We're way over.
Yes, we definitely do.
All right, so guys, you guys know that this is the most real behind-the-scenes information on financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs, which Larissa is, going on here in Las Vegas. Please like the channel, subscribe, give us some information. If we don't know something, let us know, right? I mean, we don't know all the things, right?
Right.
Esmeralda, you have anything else to say from WFG Title? Thank you for coming on.
You're very welcome. We'll see you next time, and subscribe.
Doug or not, LV Home Inspections, right? Las Vegas Home Inspections.
Yeah, Las Vegas Home Inspections, lvhomeinspections.com.
Hit Doug up. Doug is a trooper, man. This guy's a Marine. He'll be out at your house If it's 3 a.m, he'll be knocking at your door, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I don't want to go that far.
Don't go that far.
But Doug is definitely a trooper. He's a hardworking man. And Larissa, I don't even want to say your last name. I want to try to attempt it.
Go ahead. Let's see.
Drohalbeser.
No.
What is it? How do you say your last name?
Drohalbeser.
Drohalbeser.
There you go.
Jehovah's.
And so,
Yeah, you got it.
So how does somebody get a hold of you, Larissa?
So they can reach me. I have a number 702-999-4444. Or you can hit me up on my website, which is larissaatlaw.com. And I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. So my Facebook is Larissa Drohalbeser Esquire, and my IG is Larissa the Lawyer. Oh, and I have a TikTok. It's called Larissa Law Talk, and the talk is TOK. I have some TikToks that are educational.
Wow, that was really nice. I mean, she went from the whole top to the bottom, right? So,
Cool.
yeah, so my name is Dan, and I'm the host of the show. Anyways, you guys, thank you guys. And Larissa, you've been awesome. I just want to say,
Thank you
dude,
for having me. I appreciate it.
I want Larissa back on, and I'm going to tell you guys, Larissa made the show today. Everybody made the show. Larissa,
Yes.
thanks for coming on short notice. And also, I want to say one other thing here. Before we get off, I wanted to bring this up. Do I think rates are going to go above 8%? With Doug or not saying, yes, we're going to raise this thing 2 more times. I think it's going to be 3. We're hitting 8%.
I concur.
So it's only a matter of time.
Yep.
You guys out there looking to buy a home, you guys know I'm a real estate agent. Real quick, if you guys want to check me out, let's go over here. LV Home Professionals. It's a great place to get started. If you guys are looking to buy a home, get started. Go register here. I'll give you the facts. I'm not going to try to hard sell you. I'll just let you know what's the pros and cons. You guys make the decision. I'm Dan French. I'm your host. I'll see you guys at the next one. I'm out of here.
Thank you for watching the French Workbench Podcast. You can find us here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. to find out all the information on real estate and financing here in Las Vegas. Also, check us out on our LV Home Professionals website. You can find your future home there, a lot of good information, and you can find us on audio-only options.